Back in this thing like a dookie stain. Back to the sideline. So today we're going to do what we always do Friday going into Saturday, and I typically post this before noon on Saturday. I'm a little bit behind it being right about 25 hours until kickoff. But I want to make sure that I get this video out because it's very important that we know who's in and who's out ahead of our matchups. So we're going to do the injury report today. We might actually get in a little bit to the look ahead for what I feel like our biggest threat for New York is going to be. The biggest thing that I'm worried about is the weather right now, but we'll get into that topic. So, NFL Week 4 injury report for both the Giants and the Cowboys. Things can change a little bit, but for the most part, this is going to be as accurate as you can get this close to the game. Adoree Jackson with a calf. He did not participate any this week, so he is out, as well as Drew Phillips. So both of those guys, that's two cornerbacks that are not going to be playing for the Giants. Dexter Lawrence, their defensive lineman, has a foot situation, limited practice, as well as Nick McLeod, Micah McFadden, and Darius Slayton. However, Darius Slayton is the only one out of those four that has limited participation for the week that is actually ruled as questionable. So look for that designation to kind of be cleared up about 45 minutes before the game. They'll make a decision and say, hey, yes or no. Go from there. Full practice, Jermaine, we're just going to call him J.E. That's a tackle. He's got a thumb, full participation. And John Michael Schmitz, their center, neck, full participation. I would see if this center goes in the game, it may be at a limited fashion, just because that neck is something you don't want to play with. On to the Cowboys. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. You've got two DBs that are not going to go in as a questionable. They're going in as a doubtful. And as we discussed a few weeks back, anytime the Cowboys play something as doubtful on a player, it's nearly 100% sure they're not going to play. They don't play around with that doubtful. Typically, those players don't play for the Cowboys. A lot of other teams, they kind of play with it a little bit. They'll say doubtful just to kind of throw a screen over things and try to make it look like, hey, we don't think this person's going to make it. All the while they're thinking in the back of their head, absolutely he's going to go. Cowboys don't try to pull the wool over the other team's eyes like that. Typically, if they put doubtful, they're not going to play. The questionable mark for the Cowboys is the one where it could go either way. But for doubtful, I would say you're not going to see Marquise Bell, and you're not going to see Kalen Carson. Kalen Carson's dealing with a shoulder, and Marquise Bell is dealing with an ankle. Neither one of those guys has participated in any kind of practice this week, so there is a very, very, very strong chance that neither one of those guys see the game tomorrow at all. If anything, I would say you might see Kalen Carson make the trip. Marquise Bell, probably not. But even with Kalen Carson making the trip, that's just going to be a, hey, you're going because we need you to be there to watch. Because the kid needs some work. That's just my own opinion. Anything else on this list, I would say, is not anything to be too afraid of, except for C.J. Goodwin. Non-injury related. It's a personal issue. He did not participate on Wednesday. That being so close to the game today, not practicing, with it being a personal issue, you have to think, that could be something in the family life. It could be interfering, which could keep him from being able to go. But then again, it may not. It may be resolved this afternoon, and he's on the plane, and he's on his way to New York. As far as the rest of these guys, full participation. DeMarcus Lawrence was the only thing with a shoulder, limited participation Monday and Tuesday. He's a veteran. He probably realistically wasn't going to get any kind of work on Monday regardless. That being typically a day where they do like a veteran day. With it being a short week, you could say maybe he participates in some practices, but I don't think they did a lot of big practice stuff anyway. I think they did a lot of walkthroughs. I think they did a lot of videos, watching tape, learning, going through different plays that they want to try to get to as far as a walkthrough status, which for DeMarcus Lawrence, does he really need to be at a walkthrough? But going in Tuesday, did another limited practice, full participation on Wednesday. I don't predict that's going to be any kind of issue. I think all these guys that are at the bottom part of this list is going to be just fine. So the biggest thing that I'm concerned about for Thursday's game isn't even the people that are going to be participating. And I know that sounds a little arrogant. It sounds a little cocky, but understand what I'm saying. I think what you're going to get out of the Giants is what you're going to get out of the Giants. They're not going to be anything spectacular, anything crazy. I feel like you already know what that team is about. And likewise for the Cowboys, right? I think you're going to get exactly what you expect out of the Cowboys. They're going to mingle around through the first half, and then somehow they may find a way to kind of find themselves in the second half. And you hope that they're not down 14 to 16 points coming out of halftime so that they have a way to battle back, or if they're ahead, keep the lead. That's the big thing from the Cowboys' perspective that I'm looking forward to. I'd like to see them get out of some of their problems and make their I'd like to see them get out of some of their bad habits and make themselves known as far as what they are going to do going forward, being able to run the ball, being able to stop the run. But I just haven't seen that to say that that's something that I'm comfortable with. However, with the Giants, I believe that Daniel Jones is finding his way. And with Malik Neighbors, we already know that's going to be our biggest threat on offense as far as receivers goes, but they do have a run game, and they will start utilizing it when they can't seem to get that separation from Malik Neighbors. With Cowboys being down two big DBs in this game, with Deron Bland and Kalen Carson, Trayvon Diggs is going to have his hands full. So you've got to make sure that you've got the ability out there with Jordan Lewis and those other guys in that veteran room to be able to take hold of those situations with the passing game and make good plays and be smart with the football. As far as the weather is concerned, the weather is going to be an issue, and that's what I'm most afraid of. Says mostly cloudy and humid with a couple of showers in the area. I'm not sure if this is close to the Meadowlands or not, because as you may know, the Meadowlands is a little bit of a distance away from New York City. So depending on where this radar is and what they're expecting between 6 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. Thursday, it just says, hey, it's going to be a mess with scattered showers. This hurricane is pushing through, making landfall either tonight or early in the morning. So this thing is going to get very serious, and very, very quickly it's going to move either east or it's going to move northwest. So we'll see what it decides to do when it hits land. But for now, I think our biggest thing right now is just making sure that these guys get there safe. Prayers to the Cowboys team to get there safe and all in one piece. And get to the game, and hopefully they do well and make us proud. As far as our live stream goes, we're going to do the same thing we do every game day. We're going to go live 30 minutes before kickoff. So make sure that if you guys are wanting to get in and get set up, I usually go live on Twitch 30 minutes before the Cowboys game. And then at about 8 to 9 minutes before kickoff, I'm going to go through my own opening ceremony where I do my own kickoff presentation. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit of sports throughout the game. We're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy the game. And we'll do a little bit of commentary here and there. We'll play music in the commercial breaks, and we'll just have a really, really good football time on Thursday Night Football. So make sure you join in. Leave a comment down below. Make sure that you like this video. That way it shares with the algorithm, and it makes sure that things get spread out among everybody in the community that watches football on YouTube. And we will see you guys for kickoff. Go Cowboys.